Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash, or I guess The Flash Season 7, could be either. So we are roughly, I think, about a month and a week away from the premiere of The Flash Season 7, which of course feels like we've been waiting for that for like, I don't know, 42 years or something like that, something along those lines, and just waiting that long for it to happen. But leading into the latest season, there have been many theories and just general questions raised about certain things that have been teased on the show by its cast and crew or just the show itself, or at the very least, these are things wanted by fans and viewers of the show. Now, some of these are ones that have been consistently or constantly being brought up or raised over time, but of course, as we go further and further into the show every season, new things do pop up which add to the discussion, whether it's a completely new discussion or it just adds to a certain point or topic. Now, of course, do let me know in the comment section down below any other theories you do want covered in another video. I'm always curious and we can add to them. People seem to like these theory breakdown things better than just talking about random theories that we pull out of our, where the sun don't shine. We can actually break them down and talk about everything like that. So if you do have any theories, let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're just looking forward to The Flash to finally be back, why not drop a like on it to show your support for the channel and the video. So the first theory to bring up and just have a general chat about is the ever elusive one. That's the one I'm calling it because I think this is probably the one that's brought up easily the most. I don't think there's really a close second either. I think this is easily the one that gets brought up the most, and that's around Gideon and when or if they will ever be created, and specifically created by your boy, Barry Allen. Now, this has been a discussion really since the times of season 1 of The Flash, when Gideon name dropped that Barry created her, but more specifically has become a frequent or at least consistently brought up discussion as the show has gone on and Barry has grown older, both as the Flash as well as just, in his life as Barry Allen. And yeah, I can understand the constant questioning around the whereabouts of Gideon's origins on the show, but I think the big question around it, at least when you look at Gideon being made and being a thing on the show, is whether the ship has already sailed on it, if you want to call it. Now, by that and saying that, whether the ship's already sailed, I mean whether the show has just sort of moved on from stuff associated with Gideon. And as a whole, I would say no. I mean, they used her last season in season 6 a few times. Obviously, it was all connected to Crisis for the most part, which she had been attached to since season 1 with the newspaper and everything like that. However, they still used her and recorded new lines with the voice actor. So Gideon hasn't, completely been erased from their memories or plans, if you want to call it. But in regards to season 7, 8, and wherever or whatever the show ends up getting to, I really, and I need to emphasize, really do not see Gideon being made and being a thing on the show for a long time, like those two together. She could get made, I just don't see her being made and then being a thing on the show for a long period of time. And the main reason for that, and I think I might have brought this up a few times when the question has come around or Gideon's just been discussed, and that is plot convenience, or the other side of that, if we go 180, would be plot holes. So plot convenience would be using Gideon to solve everything and learn exactly what is meant to happen, which gives Team Flash a huge advantage. Realistically, you would use it, but on a TV show, it's just too convenient. And plot holes would be having Gideon and not using that tech to your advantage to stop certain villains or situations. Now, with this, you can argue, well, hold on, would Gideon be able to, mess with the future and know of certain things? We don't know. That's the thing that's sort of been up in the air, whether when Barry creates Gideon, is it just about, in the present or in the past, or is it this thing that can pretty much go along the entire timeline, if you want to call it? That is something that has been made unclear and we don't know. So at this point, we have to still line up with what we know, and it would line up with a lot of either plot convenience or plot holes, depending on how they use the character or just the tech. Now, what I could see them doing with Gideon is that she's made it either in the future beyond the end of the show, or she's made in the last few episodes of the show's final seasons. Let's just say the show's final season is season 9, and they make her in episode 20 of a 22 season. So she's made in episode 20 of season 9, the third last episode, and they can maybe use her in those episodes, or they just have Barry creating her. Or maybe in the series finale, the last episode of The Flash, we see a montage from future events that are sort of relevant to the show, and one of them is Barry making Gideon or launching her for the first time, or at least planning to create her. So that could be something they do, which just, gives a nod to the audience hey, we didn't forget, it's just not something we're going to do on the show, but don't worry, Barry ends up making her. But obviously, until they actually do anything with Gideon on the show, people are just going to keep on questioning it, which I can completely understand. Now, the next one is something we could see progress with the upcoming season, season 7, and that has to do with the beginning of the Reverse Flash origin story that many, including myself, have wanted to see, for many seasons now, or at least say they're going to do it, though we understand why it hasn't happened as of yet. Now, we know that the end of season 6, like the proper end that we're meant to get if like COVID hadn't yeeted it away, was meant to include a cliffhanger relating to Reverse Flash, most likely showing where his like spirit, if you want to call it, I think like flew away from Nash Wells, where that's gone. Now, I'm not saying that was the start of the origin story, as this Reverse Flash is one that has gone through everything and experienced like many years of battling the Flash and all of that. However, I think for them to actually kickstart the origin story with a younger Eobard Thawne, potentially in the show at a later point, they do have to deal with this other version. I don't know if they can have both of them there. Maybe I think they just have to deal with this other version, whether it's killing him or just saying that he's in this area, which can't affect what's going to happen next with a younger Eobard Thawne. Now, specifically going to the origin story, this is what I would spend the final season of the show centered around. We see a younger Eobard Thawne becoming obsessed with the Flash in the future. We see like flash forwards, like you'd get with flashbacks and stuff like that. And we go through the story and process that he went through where he eventually becomes the Reverse Flash, which will then lead full circle to the moment where himself and the Flash travel back in time and fight in the Allen household when Barry's a kid, then leading to the death of Nora Allen. And we could even have the moment where the current version of Barry at that time, whether it's like season 9 or 10, the one that traveled back with Reverse Flash in that moment is the version of the Flash that Barry sees in the season 1 finale of the Flash that tells him like to not interact and to go, close the door and hide behind it. Or as most people commonly refer to him as, the original timeline Flash. Even though it technically wouldn't be the original timeline Flash, as we are really far off the original timeline at this point. Like, I don't even know how many timelines we've jumped to the point where we are just away from the original timeline. Yeah, it wouldn't be original timeline Flash because that's just long gone. Now, whether that happens in the series finale or an episode or two beforehand is another question, but in my opinion at least, that would be the perfect final season of The Flash. Not only for just tying up the story, but just for fans as well, because people have sort of wanted to see the lead up to that, because we were sort of teased that Crisis was meant to be that, but Crisis changed in what it was meant to be. Like, it turned more into Crisis from the comics rather than what season 1's Crisis was going to be. But yeah, Flash Writers Room, if you need some tips, some notes, you can always hit me up on Twitter. And the last one is one that I've thought about every now and then, but I thought, I guess, a term I've used a couple of times in this video, I thought the ship may have sailed away and was never really going to happen, and that's Max Mercury. Could we ever see Max Mercury appear on the show, whether it's in a small way, a one-episode thing, or even as like a supporting character for a season? And my answer to that is, hopefully. I would love to see him play a big role in a future season, might I say. He's really the only major speedster that we have not met yet on the show. Like, we've had Jay Garrick, we've had the Reverse Flashes, we've had Kid Flash, like Wally West, and everything like that, and Jesse Quick even. But we haven't had Max Mercury. And I know some people are going to go like, hold on, Pagey, you forgot Bart Allen, Impulse. And yeah, but I intentionally left him out because we had Nora West Allen, or XS, in season 5 and I guess season 4, and she was pretty much Bart Allen. She was female Bart Allen. I even said at the time when she appeared on the show, why did they not just use Bart? It would have fit, but they did Nora, made up, I don't know. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, so they could do Bart, but they've already done a female version of Bart. But Max Mercury is a character I think will be fairly cool. Like, you could argue that maybe this season that's coming up, saying that like we're dealing with like, sort of creating a new Speed Force and maybe dealing with some speedster mythology, which had been teased by Eric Wallace, the showrunner. Max Mercury sort of lines up with that. Now, I don't think he's going to show up, but I think if he were to show up, this would probably be the perfect season. If it wasn't any of the ones that happened before. Like, you could argue maybe like a season 3 with the Flashpoint at the beginning would be a good, and Savitar mixed in would be a good ballpark for Max Mercury to come and play. But if it's not season 3, which obviously it wasn't because we already watched it, spoiler alert, then this upcoming season, because they've teased a lot of speedster mythology, that seems like it would be the best place for him to show up. But maybe that's a surprise that's coming, but maybe I'm just thinking it's a good idea, and maybe the writers are thinking, no, it's a terrible idea. Maybe it's just me. I have no idea, but I think that'd be a really cool event to happen, for him to show up and just some speedster mythology stuff, but who knows. But yeah, guys, those are the theories I wanted to talk about, just the general questions and queries, if you want to call it, around the upcoming season, The Flash and beyond. As I said before, if you do have any other theories you want me to discuss and break down in another future video, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like and show support for the video, the channel, and just to show your excitement for what's coming. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.